Cool.
Yeah.
So we're going live.
We're live now. Hello, everyone. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us, and then we'll get started. Give it a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we've had an amazing response to this, and we've even had to increase our subscription. So,
wow.
But thank you to everybody for joining us today. It takes a little while for the Zoom to load up everybody, but yeah, we should be there in a moment or two.
Amazing.
Ah, great. Whereabouts?
She just walked around that corner.
Oh, that's cool. Probably need to sign in.
No, stay here. We'll give it another 30 seconds, guys, and then we'll get started. No, thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, well, I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. Nina Mani. My name is Eve from Onkaparinga Libraries, and this is Elijah from Neporendi Aboriginal Community Centre. And we're about to be joined by a very special guest, Adam Briggs, to talk about his new book, Our Home, Our Heartbeat. And we're also going to be welcoming City of Onkaparinga Mayor Erin Thompson. So, Adam, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. There's lots of schools and kindies tuning in today, so welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And yeah, and thank you, Eve. I'd like to first acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Kaurna peoples. It's important that we do acknowledge this. For a long time, Aboriginal people, you know, were categorically denied their humanity. And when you do that to a group of people, it's amazing what the outcomes can be afterwards. So it's important that we do that. As a Narrabunna man, I'd like to acknowledge Kaurna country and Kaurna language. So Nina Mani, Nainari Elijah Bravington, Yadlu Tampanthi, Yadlu Gana Yatunga, Neporendi. And that's just a basic acknowledgement to say that we do acknowledge that we're on the lands of the Kaurna people. First things first, Briggs, would you like to go through a reading?
Yeah. I've got a copy of myself, so I can definitely, it's kind of mixing in with my background at the moment.
Where's the technology? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me do a reading for you guys. I'm reading from my home in Shepparton, Yorta Yorta country. So this is exactly where I grew up, and there's a lot of Yorta Yorta heroes in this book, and it's something that I'm stoked to be able to share with everybody today. So this is Our Home, Our Heartbeat. I'm Wanganeen in '93. The sapphires are my aunties. The first gold medal, I'm Nova P. I'm Kathy Freeman. Her fire's inside of me. I'm Adam Goods, and Adam should be applauded when he stands up. I'm Tapsul in my close-up. I'm Paddy Mills with the last shot. And if you guys like, there's some pictures there. It's one of my favorites. I'll keep it moving. We'll talk about that after. My history is my strength. My future is my own. My community is a part of me. It's my time, my heartbeat. I'm Yvonne Goolagong with a trophy from Wimbledon. I'm Doug Nichols. I'm Jimmy Little singing down the Royal Telephone. I'm the world champ in '68. That's me. I'm Lionel Rose. I'm William Cooper. I take a stand when no one even knows. My history is my strength. My future is my own. My community is a part of me. It's my time, my heartbeat. I'm Uncle Buddy, everybody loves me, and ain't none below and ain't none above me. I'm the carvings out of every scar tree, and on those flats that birth Archie. I can sing like I'm Thelma, I can sing like I'm Jess, I can sing like I'm Sultan, I can sing like I'm M. I talk like my uncles, I look like my aunts, I dance with my cousins, and I speak through my art. Some of us are fair, some of us are dark, we're all different colors, and that's who we are. That's also one of my favorite pictures. A lot of people have been posting that one. Our history is our strength. Our future is our own. We are all our community. It's our time. We're home. Thank you, guys. That's our home, our heartbeat. For me.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome work. Awesome work. And it's great that people are sharing this. So all those people that are joining us today, feel free to post, put on things online. Let's celebrate some of our true champions.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we forget about them. So it's nice to have you on, Briggs, and it's nice to have those reminders as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Shall we get into the Q&A?
Yep, I reckon. So we've had a bunch of questions come through from schools and things.
Mm-hmm.
So our first couple, we've got a special guest here, City of Onkaparinga Mayor Erin Thompson. So I'm going to pop out of the shot and let her pop in, and she's going to ask us our first few, okay?
Excellent.
Hello, everyone. So I've been tasked with reading some questions that have been provided from schools right across Onkaparinga. So the first question is, Briggs, who was your hero as a kid?
Gavin Wanganeen, 100%. Gavin Wanganeen, when he played for the Bombers, I was heartbroken when he left to Port Adelaide, but I understand now as an adult.
Well, he had to win us some premiership.
But yeah, Gavin Wanganeen was my hero as a kid.
Yeah, and what was so special about him? What did you love about him?
He was just super cool. Like, I was a big Bombers fan, like a big footy kid, loved the Bombers, and he was a black fellow who played on my favourite team, so he was automatically going to be my favourite, and he won the Brownlow too, so it was unstoppable.
Yeah, what a hero.
Still a champion.
Our next question from kids across Onkaparinga is, what inspired you to do a song and now a book based on Uncle Archie Roach's own song, Took the Children Away?
I wanted to do a song because I was asked to do Triple J's Like a Version, and it was for NAIDOC week, and I wanted to do something that was going to celebrate our triumphs, because I felt like there wasn't enough songs out there. There was a lot of songs that spoke about the struggle, but not a lot of songs that celebrated the triumphs of Indigenous people, and not in rap as well. So I wanted to shine a light on Archie Roach's song, Took the Children Away, so people get a refresh on the realities that still are prevalent today, and a quick little history lesson, on a really important song, but also, something that is relevant today is the triumphs that we have, and also, a little bit of reprieve, and something to be able to listen to and remind ourselves that we've done so much and overcome so many obstacles to be able to achieve such great things, like not just nationally but internationally as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've had some Q&As come through. We've got from 5 and 6s, Wilson from Ringarooma Primary School in Tasmania. How does it feel to be an author, and how long did it take to write Our Home, Our Heartbeat?
Our Home, Our Heartbeat was already written because I'd written the song. So a lot of the hard work was already done. That's the best thing about being an author now, is like I already written the book before so I just had to reformat it and change it a little bit. So it all came together reasonably quickly. I noticed that a lot of kids' books were in rhyme form, and I felt like I was definitely already in that wheelhouse to be able to transcribe something of mine into this kind of medium, into a book. And I really wanted to have a piece of art that could reach this this age group, this age demographic. It was really important for me to have stuff like that, because so much that I already do is for an older audience. I wanted to give something back to a younger age group.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got another question. Are you going to write another book? From Alessia in the kindergarten at Wahroonga Public School.
Thank you, Alessia. Yes, I'm going to write another book. I'm going to do another one. I definitely will. I'm already working on it. I was working on it when this one was being finished, and yes, I'll definitely write another one. Thank you for your question.
You've also, like, I love the book. It's so good. And then I looked at some of the artists and some of their artists' work, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But for me, it just seemed quite an amazing collaboration. How did that come about?
Kate Moon and Rachel Sarah are just two phenomenal artists that I know. Kate Moon was friends with a lot of friends of mine, and I really loved her portrait work. And Rachel Sarah, her design work she does is like so vibrant and pops, so bright. And it was something I wanted to do with my books, to have it stand out on the shelf. And so it's something cool to look at. And, I feel like Kate's, like, the life that she brings to the faces is so, like, I haven't seen many other people do it as well as Kate does it. And the same with Sarah. So where all my words live in this book, it's it's in their little universe that they collaborated on and brought together. So I just get to play in that for a little bit with my words. It's good fun for me.
Well, I might just ask one more question, then we'll hand it over again as well. Any tips for the kids at home who might want to try something new and maybe write and do something like that?
Always have a shot at doing anything you wanted to do. Like this is my first book, so I've always said, like, you weren't this yesterday, but you're this today. What are you going to be tomorrow? So it's always worth having a shot, and if you have a passion, to always follow it and believe in that passion and work towards it. Hard work beats everything. And if you really want to have a shot at writing a book or writing a song, you can always do it, because all you need is a pen and a pad. And sometimes you don't even need that. You can just write it in your head.
Yeah, it's amazing the power of words.
Yeah, some great advice there. We've got a question from Jamie Davidson, who's in Year 5 at Southern Vales Christian College, Aldinga. He says, "Hey Briggs, thanks for your book. Just wondering if you've won any awards for your music."
Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, I have. I've won 2 ARIA awards for my music, and 1 Australian Music Prize for an album I did with my friend and a Ngarrindjeri fella from Adelaide, Trials, who's a really talented producer and artist. So yeah, we've won 3 good ones, and they all live at my mum's house. My mum has all my awards.
Wow.
Lauren and Dougie have asked, what inspired you to get into rap?
I just love rap music ever since I was a kid. I think I grew up in the 90s, so it was really popular and really prevalent in a lot of culture as well. So hip hop was something that I was always drawn to, and it was either going to be that or comedy. I don't, and those are the two things that I value the most in my entertainment. So yeah, but music was always a part of it. I always loved music.
Wow. Well, thank you for your comedy genius as well. I remember attending a breakfast one day and you got up and spoke and you showed some clips from black comedy, and I think I sprayed some food out, but yeah, just gold stuff. We've also had, who else have we got here? Hello from Better Remote Community School in WA Kimberley.
Wow. They've asked, we would like to know if you enjoyed going to school when you were younger, and did you enjoy reading and writing then?
Oh, geez. School was always a test for me as a kid, but my mum and dad always dropped me off at the gate and made sure I went in. and when I was there, I tried to make the most of it. I think that was the main point was, when I was at school, just make the most of it and focus on doing good work and work that I like to do. And I was always writing. I was always writing stories and reading as much as possible.
Wow. I think I'm inspired. I'm going to have to get a book out now. We've also had somebody write through, Mr. Lovett, talking about Dr. G. What was it like working with somebody with such a melodious, harmonic kind of soulful tune?
Dr. G was my mate. So it was like going to work with my friends. You know what I mean? Like that's like, it's always the best part of the job when you get to go to work with your mates. And he was a great friend of mine and a super talent. And it was always fun and effortless. Anything we made together was always something that we really wanted to do and happy to explore. And like I got into beatbox on one of my songs, and with the Hunt that Trials produced. So working with Dr. G was like, it's like working with your mates. It's the best job in the world when you get to work with your friends.
Rachel, Avery and Isla have asked, Briggs, you're such a multi-skilled artist. What is your main love? Is it music or acting?
Definitely music, because that's like the back of my hand, and I make music all the time. I think that is like my main love, and then writing after. I think acting's last, because acting's boring when you're doing it. Acting's the hardest one because it's boring while you do it. Writing is definitely my favorite at the moment, because I get to do that anywhere.
Yeah, we did see you do some deadly acting. Some of the ABC shows, throwing people around in wrestling rings and all sorts of things, all kitted up. Amazing stuff.
Crazy. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of waiting. They're long days. Acting, it's good work, but it's long days. So I like jobs that I don't have to get dressed up for, like writing.
Yeah, no, that's a pure joy about writing. You can do it just about anywhere. We will also, we're taping this, we'll have it as a resource that we can add. We're trying to grow some things as well. We've had a poetry workshop by Ali Kobe Eckerman, and she really sort of...
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
The way she can tailor words and to just pull out emotion from people, it's quite amazing.
She's fantastic.
when you write, when you're up on stage, are there emotions that you're trying to pull out of people? Or are you just having fun, or?
In everything I do, like that's what I feel like arts, or art should be. You should be evoking emotion from people. That's what makes it good art. So whenever I'm on stage or whatever piece of art that I'm working on, if it's a book or a song or comedy, there's different emotions you're trying to evoke from people to create that moment for them. And I think that's what we do as artists. We just try to create moments for people to have.
Wow. Here's a tough one though. We might get them there to ask the next one, but the Ngallapeta kids would like to hear you rap for us, please.
Oh, jeepers. I don't know what I'd be able to rap. So many of my raps are for adults.
All right. Well, we might put that one to the back of the mind for a moment. Yeah.
Well, while you're thinking on that, the Wellandra Primary School kids in Armidale, Perth, the Year 6 students, would like to know, do you have pets and do you sing to them and do they sing back?
I recently just got a puppy. So she lives at my mum's farm at the moment. I'll see if I can find a picture.
I'll get pictures out in a minute too. Little Staffy or?
Oh.
Working?
Beautiful.
Jiminy cricket. Wow.
Yeah, that's Carmela.
Camilla.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, she doesn't sing much yet. Hopefully she doesn't sing too much because I've got neighbors. But but yeah, that's she's new. That's this week.
Oh wow. Oh, that's so good. Who else have we got here? Have you ever had a show in the children's section of the Adelaide Fringe?
No, never. This was the first kind of GPG children's orientated thing I've ever done. So, like other than the song, the children came back. There was like a big gap in a lot of my work where this book was meant to be. So I haven't done that yet. I feel like there's a whole new kind of avenue for me to explore, over the next few years.
Does that mean cutting a track with the Wriggles or?
Oh, if they'd have me and Bluey as well, we'd get it popping.
We've had some questions come through from McLaren Vale Primary School. Fletcher would like to know, do you collaborate with many other Aboriginal artists?
Yeah, 100%. Trials, obviously, is an Orangery fella. From Adelaide, I've got a record label, Bad Apples, that has heaps of Indigenous artists on it, 5 Indigenous artists. I work with Dan Sultan and Emma Donovan and Thelma Plum, Dr. G. Like, yeah, I always work with black fellas. I feel like it's a good thing when we're able to share our countries and our culture and bring things together and broadcast it across the world.
Tassie would like to know, what age did you perform your first song? And Jade would like to know when you realised you wanted to become a musician.
I'd always wanted to be a musician or something like that. So as long as I could remember, I always wanted to be into entertainment. I don't think I performed a song until I was about 15, I reckon, or maybe younger, 13. When I was a kid trying to rap. It was probably really bad, really terrible, but I kept going. And now it's only a little bit bad, but yeah.
Well, thank you so much for persevering. Oh my gosh, blessed. We've got a few other students from that school as well. Oh, there's a good one. Do you prefer to collaborate or work solo?
Uh, I love both. I love working solo and on my own stuff because like I work by myself so often, but it's also, you know, when you work with your mates, there's like I could be stacking boxes in a warehouse with my mates and be having fun. You know what I mean? So like when you work with your friends, there's a different energy to that, and it's really cool. Um, but yeah, like I love both equally.
Well, thank you, Michaela, for writing in. And we got another one from, I think, Ava. You know, the work that you do, you can be in a pressure cooker sometimes, or, you know, whatever might be going on sort of politics wise. What has been your biggest challenge?
Um, my biggest challenge for me was was knowing when things are done and taking a break as well. That I think that's my biggest challenge, is knowing when to switch off and stop working, and when to take a bit of time for yourself so you don't burn out. Um, one of the biggest things I learned was about, you know, hard work and good work. It's like good work is always hard work, but not all hard work is good work. So you have to know what's what. And my biggest challenge for me was saying no to stuff and being able to be like, nah, I've got enough on my plate. But yeah, that's, you know, it's not a bad problem to have.
Well, that also leads to another question from Ava, who's asked, what questions are you sick of answering?
Geez, I don't know. It's like because I don't really think about it. Like I feel like if someone's like, you know, asking a question, um, you know, they're probably trying to learn something. I guess the ones that the questions that bug me the most are like, you know, what do you do? And I'm like, well, everything. What don't I do?
And where do you think something like that comes from? Is it just because you want to try a lot of different things and see what you're good at, or what?
It's because I think I'm just a creator. I like making things. So when I was in isolation, when the lockdown happened, I just started cooking stuff. Um, you know, like I just had to make something, and I think like as part of keeping me occupied and idle hands, you know, I just had to keep making bread and pizza and whatever else was coming, you know, out of that kitchen at the time. Yeah, I just have to make stuff. So I always try my hand at different things, be it animation or comedy or music, you know what I mean, or movies. I just have to make things.
Well, yeah, you can create while you're cooking, and Karen has written in. That's why I had to have a bit of a chuckle. She said, "Are you good at cooking?"
Yeah, yeah, I'm all right. I do not too bad in the kitchen. I've got some really talented and gifted friends who own restaurants in Melbourne. A friend of mine, Ben Shuri, he sends me recipes and like gives me FaceTime lessons on how to put things together. So, you know, I'm decent. I'll survive lockdown again.
Corbin from McLaren Vale Primary School has asked, do all your songs have a story behind them?
Not necessarily. Some songs are just songs that that I just wanted to make. You know, not everything has like super levels to them or textures or depth, but I feel like the overall presence of my body of work, there is a whole story around that. So not every song in particular has a story, but it encompasses everything. So like all these songs make up, you know, bits and pieces of the bigger story.
Also from McLaren Vale Primary, Hamzy would like to know, who are some of your favourite artists?
Some of my favorite artists are like Chuck D from Public Enemy and the guys from Run the Jewels. and Ice Cube and Nas, and yeah, like some of my favorite artists. And like I like visual artists as well, like Rico Rennie. He's one of my favorite artists, and Scotty Marsh, who does lots of political satire murals on walls. He's one of my favorites. I love the work of Warwick Thornton, who's a director. I just love people who make stuff. You know what I mean? I love seeing things. Thelma Plum, Alice Skye, she's one of my favorites. There's so many people, like I draw from so many different artists, like inspiration that drive me to make my own.
Fantastic. Some good suggestions there for the kids. How do you feel before performing to a big audience is a question from Talby at McLaren Vale.
Big audiences, it's funny, like small audiences I reckon are scarier than big audiences. I feel like big audiences are a little bit easier than a smaller audience. My favorite audience is like 1,000 people. I feel like that's a good in between for me. But like when it's smaller, it's a little bit more intimate, and you know, you can talk to the audience, and I like that. But like when it's a big show, like if I'm doing a show in front of 20,000 people or something like that, you're a little bit removed from that, and it's more based on the performance. So before the show, I normally just hang out by myself, and I start running through the songs in my head, like beside the stage, just so I've got it, you know, nailed in. And so that's all I'm focused on, is that first moment of like switching on the performance side of me to amp it up to, you know, 11, and then you go out there and just, you know, whatever happens, happens.
So I'm guessing you still get a bit of nerves then.
I feel like if you don't have those kind of nerves, you know, something must have went wrong. Because yeah, it's not nervous like you can't do it. It's like it's an anxious thing of like, let's go get it done, let's go.
We do have a couple of other ones coming in from Ashley Goodwin. Do you want to?
Yeah, Ashley would like to know, what is your favourite song that you've written?
My favourite song, I feel like my favourite song I'd written was Bad Apples. Because that one was like that was a song that kind of changed the narrative for me, and kind of shifted Australian hip hop and Australian music a little bit, and it really opened up the door for us to be, you know, for me and Charles to be able to do an AB original album. So that was probably my favorite song for those reasons. And I have other songs that are like my, you know, are good fun songs to perform. But yeah, that one, Bad Apples, always hits different, especially when you do it live. It's good fun.
Wow, we do have an array of different talent. You know, the work coming out of Australia at the moment, Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander hip hop.
Yeah.
They just seem to be really hitting their strides, and even over the world.
Yeah, that's great.
What inspires you with your music and your writing?
I feel like sometimes it's just like it's the nature of a creator to take a song or take an idea and form it into a song, and take that angle or take that word or take that phrase and form an idea around that song. You know, another song I wrote not long ago was kind of like, I kind of wrapped up the last 2 weeks of you know, of the news cycle in Australia, and what's going on with you know, blackfellas in Australia. And I think for me, I guess the main drive is to make sense of the world for myself. That's how I make sense of the world, is by creating things. And that's how I make sense of things around me. I make art because that's how I explain it to myself and to everybody else.
Wow, that's so good. We'll probably wrap up in a little while's time, and I just wanted to say thanks again for joining us a bit earlier and engaging with the kindy kids down here at Christie Downs.
That's cool. Thanks for the song.
And thank you for the mayor. Did you want to?
Yeah, so we've also had a question from Karen who's asked, you're from the Yorta Yorta people. Can you tell us where that is in Australia?
It's right where I'm from, is like right on the border of Victoria and New South Wales. So it's I grew up in Shepparton, which is 2 hours north of Melbourne, and my people live here and around those borders between near Echuca, Moama, and Barma, and the state forest there, right in the middle of Victoria, pretty much.
Wow, and we did touch on it briefly a minute ago. You got some famous people from the Yorta Yorta Nation in your book, and there seems to be an array, like a powerhouse of Aboriginal people just getting engaged with different things. We talked about William Cooper 80 years ago. He was, this is a day of mourning. It's not Australia Day for us. Deborah Cheatham's come out and had some amazing music. David Wirrapunda on the ball, and he was playing for the West Coast. Sensational. Is there something in the water, or is there something else going on within that?
There'd have to be. There's too much going on. I feel like I don't know where William Cooper took his cues from to be able to lead such a, like the first protests in the country for blackfellas. And, when he was the first to protest, he wrote a letter to King George about the mistreatment of the Jewish people in the 1930s as well. He was always very aware, and not just of our plight, but the plight of others and mistreatment and around the world. So it's pretty extraordinary to think that William Cooper could take such a stand, and I've often thought, like, I wonder where he got his cues from, but it must be something from here, because and he passed that on to, Uncle Doug Nichols, who passed it on to my dad, and, and there's so many other leaders that come from this part of the world and do extraordinary things, like my cousin Tony, who wrote the Sapphires movie, that went nuts, 10 years ago. There's just so much of that, and so many people doing extraordinary things, and pushing the boundaries, and like, I think it feels like it's those kind of paths are really carved for me out of here to be able to do that, like, because I can see the methods and I can see the blueprints all around me, and I could apply them to myself, even at home, and my dad running the Rumballara Football Club, which is an Indigenous football club, but as we all know, it does way more than what a football club normally would, with employment and making sure people are healthy, and engagement and community representation. So, I feel like the blueprint is there, and I was just borrowing from everybody to make mine.
Yeah. And we've had a few other sort of random questions come through. What about, where did it go? I'm hoping you'll say the same colour as me, but...
Karen would like to know, what is your favourite colour?
Blue.
Oh.
Or black and red. Go Bombers.
Black and red, the Bombers.
She also asks, why do you like rap?
I don't know. I like a lot of music. I like heaps of music. I love music in general. Rap was just the one that spoke to me the most. as a kid, and I think it has something to do with with me being a young black fella from the country growing up in the 90s, and this dangerous music that was pretty cool was coming out. It was like, that was tailored especially for me, it felt. So, yeah, I think, you know, I didn't have a choice.
Wow. And for all those aspiring young or, you know, middle-aged wannabe rappers, is there any advice or cues, or, you know, is it just you know, keeping a beat? What is
My thing is, like, with like any kind of art that you do, measure your art against your favorite artists, and if you keep doing that, and if it's world class, it will show itself, and you'll know. It's like you only get better if you keep measuring it towards the best artists that you feel there are. So if you're, you know, if you're writing books, you know, always look to your favorite author, and, you know, and always do second passes and make sure that your work's up to scratch, and never be afraid to go back and fix things and make them better.
Wow, wow. And do you often hear this other niggling voice in your head to say, oh, it's not good enough, or what will people think?
Always, 100%, always. I always have that thing in the back of my head where it's like, oh, you better go back and fix that. You better change this. You better adjust that, you know. But it's about also having, you know, people around you that know art and know, you know, your genre, and can give you honest criticism and feedback, and help you be better.
Oh, yeah. Well, trying to combine a couple of questions now. Some people have talked to you about a rap, and then we've had somebody who's come in a little bit late, but they've asked you to read the story as well. Is that something you can rap to everybody? And
let me try read the book really fast. I could do another reading real quick. Maybe I'll just do a bit of a, like, the rhyming words are like, I'm Wanganeen in 93, the Sapphires are my aunties, the first gold medal I'm Nova P, Kathy Freeman, and her fire's inside of me. Like, all the words in that part are all the, you know, it's all the threes and me's and aunties, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's where all the rhyming structure for that part comes in.
I didn't realize that connection to the Sapphires either.
Yeah, they're my actual aunties.
Yeah, they're aunties.
Yeah. I'm Adam Goods, and Adam should be applauded when he stands up. I'm Tatzel with my close-up. I'm Patty Mills with the last shot. See, sometimes when you're rhyming, you don't have to rhyme the words like so close. They don't have to be up and cup. You know what I mean? Like, you can do syllable rhymes, which in how you deliver them sound similar. So it's like, you know, I'm Tatzel with my close-up. I'm Patty Mills with the last shot. Like, that sounds like it rhymes when you say it that fast and deliver it in a syllable kind of way. You know what I mean? You know, my history is my strength. My future is my own. My community is a part of me. It's my time, my heartbeat. Again, part of me, heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like, that's the rhyming structure there. So, like, if you kids like want to like rap it, just do it fast.
Thanks so much, Briggs.
That was excellent. And just as we sort of start to wrap up the Q&A, can you tell us what you're working on now? What's next for you?
I'm thinking about writing a film. That's what I'm working on at the moment. And so that's the next project. I have new music out. I'm working on another book, which should be, you know, it shouldn't be too far away, too far finished. It'll probably take a little bit, you know, to get it to where it needs to be at, maybe a year or so. But new book, new music. I really want to start working on this film idea, and hopefully that's enough.
Well, yeah, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for all your awesome questions, guys. Really appreciate it. And everyone tuning in. I hope you're all doing very well in this in this pandemic. I hope everyone's healthy and good.
Yeah, and we will be sending out some feedback as well. So if we get some good stuff, then we'll probably forward it on to you then as well, Briggs.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries at all. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I think that's our time for today. And again, this resource will be available online. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Again, peace. I'll see you all real soon.